Karen thought calling the cops would scare off my wife on moving day. But less than 20 minutes later, Karen was the one getting served with eviction papers. It was moving day at our new lake cabin. My wife and I had finally finished renovations, and she drove up ahead of me with a car full of boxes. She was excited to settle in until she was greeted by Karen, the HOA president from the neighborhood across the road. Karen stomped up, clipboard in hand, blocking the front steps. "You can't move in without HOA approval," she barked. My wife calmly replied, "This cabin isn't part of your HOA." But Karen smirked. "Everything around here falls under my authority. If you try to move in, I'll call the police." And she did. Minutes later, red and blue lights flashed down the gravel road. Karen actually smiled, telling neighbors, "Watch this, she's about to be arrested." The officers walked up, professional but cautious. Karen jabbed her finger at my wife. "She's trespassing." But my wife didn't even flinch. She handed over her ID and then calmly reached into a folder. The officers looked at the documents and their expressions changed instantly. "Ma'am, she's not trespassing. She owns this property." Karen's smug grin faltered. That can't be right." But then came the real blow. My wife pulled out a second set of papers, stamped and sealed by the county court. She turned to Karen, looked her square in the eyes, and said, "Actually, you're the one trespassing. These are your eviction papers." Turns out, my wife had discovered weeks earlier that Karen's HOA office had been operating illegally on land we purchased along with the cabin. Karen had no right to use it, and now she was being forced off it by court order. The officers didn't arrest my wife. Instead, they warned Karen that interfering further could land her in jail. Neighbors gasped as the mighty HOA president stood speechless, her clipboard trembling in her hands. Within 20 minutes, Karen went from calling 911 to being handed her own eviction notice. As the officers drove away, my wife walked back inside, smiling. "Well," she said, "that's one less neighbor we'll have to worry about." Karen thought she could use the police to intimidate us. Instead, she learned the hard way that the law was already on our side.
I am Liam, and trust me, the next HOA story is even worse. Subscribe now.